Hello everybody, welcome to this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division with various wins for the All-Star Tournament, a mix of the Unity Point and Santa Ventura. No other modifier has been announced, which I think is great, to be honest. Before we take a closer look at the videos, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. Make sure as well to give an edge over your opponents and also spending less time in practice using practice tokens and balls by getting one of our guide packages by scanning the QR code here on the screen or go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. We do offer guides for Pro, Expert, and Master, obviously updating for the wind changes throughout the tournament, and will always make you be one step ahead of the opponents that do not have our packages. Info box on the right hand side for the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also a ball and club type we suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there's always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. If we do have a tailwind on hole number 1, we are going to send it and get ourselves to green. That could also be done if we do have a straight crosswind, but what complicates it is that when we do have a headwind, then we're going to have to lay up on the right hand side, playing an NMT with a P2 ball, adding spins, adjustment max plus 10 P3. Once we have adjusted, we're going to center the ball and hit perfect. So even if we did adjust into overpower, we are not adding any overpower in this situation. Bounces on the fairway, gets down nicely, and we want to keep ourselves to favor the left hand side of the fairway, because the second shot here now is going to be played from more or less min line. I'm putting mid in the info box due to the fact that it could vary if you have a great right or you're just aiming more right to not flirt with that rough. But the idea here is to go for a rough bump. This rough bump here is pretty big when it comes to playing with such an accurate club like the Grizzly. Obviously, having the correct adjustment from start is a massive help, and make sure to not add a bunch of additional OP or UP or something like that. That could cost you a lot. 10% elevation, and here it's all about what pin shake or freen shake you have, or it's just true club distance. Perfect ball it is. We bounce into the rough, rolls down the green, and we're dropping this one dead center for a beautiful eagle here to start with on hole number 1. For hole number 2, we are going to play from absolute min line with a P2 ball. A ball guideline to go over the hole or through the hole, whatever way you want to pronounce it. And we're going to add spins so we have the ball guideline just short of the hole. Adjust here in the video. I do adjust 1 to 1, which is a little bit too little. I would like us to play minimum distance plus 25% elevation instead. Have in mind that if you do have a tailwind, you're going to have to play with a long iron instead of a wood club. But if it is a crosswind or a headwind, we can play with our wood club, which is the preferred way of doing. Now, burning the edge on the right hand side needed. Once again, a little bit more adjustment, but worst case scenario, a safe birdie. For hole number 5, we are lucky here to get some tailwind, and then we're gonna push, because we do want to get into short iron range. Stretch out to max in this case, and I'm looking to have the bullseye just very close to the rough line. Release, and then you adjust max plus 10 power 3 ball settings. Now, 6 bars of topspin, 3 bars of right spin. I'm not going to use any type of push-up here. I'm just going to use max overpower with a slow needle. Full curl to the right as well. The idea is to cut the corner very close to the tree to get the ball to roll as far down the fairway possible. And from this range here, now we're going to position ourselves to play a short iron towards the pin. Let's say that you do have a headwind of tee. You're going to have to bounce before the rough in the bunker and just lay up and get yourself a wood club towards the pin. Second shot, You can see here now we're playing with a short iron. Here you can see in the info box that I do have medium distance as club distance, but it's going to be somewhere between medium and maximum distance. Obviously it could be around minimum distance. Well, it kind of depends on what type of distance you have on off tee. 10% elevation, and once again make sure to read the club distance correct. If you do have a tailwind of the second shot like we have here, leave the ball guideline slightly short, otherwise it's a big risk of you coming in too hot, bounce off the pin and out, and that's never something we do want to do. Perfect ball. And we bounce on the French as we want to, but we just burned the right edge a little bit too much in over adjust, or a little bit over adjustment. However though, hole number 5 here in the 5th anniversary tournament offers a very good chance for an albatross. There will most definitely be some hole-in-ones on this hole, and the reason I do believe that is because we now have so many different golf balls in the game that even if we do have a headwind, we will still be able to easily get over the water and get the ball to green. And if you then have some luck, if you roll down at the correct place, then the hole-in-one is definitely there. Max plus 10 using max overpower with a slower needle to not have to use a bunch of topspin here. Great left is going to still be fine, which is great, and you can see how much fairway we do have to play on where we land with our first bounce. With a perfect ball we would have been kind of close, but as the green is downhill, it's all about the speed if you're going to give yourself a chance for a hole-in-one, and obviously hit perfect, that would be great. This obviously play here is for this particular wind angle. It could definitely vary slightly if you have a different wind angle, something that it's important to have in mind. Don't be afraid of using a better power ball for either a slower needle or to make sure that you don't have to use that much overpower if you do have a headwind. When we do have a headwind here on hole number 5, we're going to have to lay up, which is kind of boring on this hole, but there is a way of getting yourself into a very nice position and playing into a big funnel on the green. If we do have a tailwind, we are going to send it, but unfortunately that wind did not appear itself in practice. Start with the quarterback at max white rain by rough line, 3 topspin, 3 left spin, swapping to a puck and sniper bag. Max plus 10 is the adjustment. We're centering the ball to hit perfect, and now we're looking to be just safely down the fairway. So you can see the ball hits the fairway and then it rolls down nicely, and you can see here that we are safe for any types of grates that may appear. So we do have the second shot, and we are going to play this one with a sniper, doing our very best to catch the funnel. So first and foremost, if we do have any type of note to follow, do a fringe check or a pin check or anything else like that. Then adding spins, I'm adding a little bit of left spin together with some backspin. Look now, when I'm moving my target, the ball guideline is not really moving from the hole, which means that we're playing into a funnel. But what we do forget to counteract is the headwind, because the headwind is going to make the ball guideline shorter and going to miss left. So in this instance, the thing to compensate here is to leave the ball guideline a little bit more through the hole, so we do come in with more speed, or leave it right of the hole, or adjust more. There are a couple of things we can do there, but in a worst case scenario we end up with an eagle burning the edge like this, but the albatross is very makeable. Hole number 2, and here we're gonna play with our sniper 9 plus. And what we're gonna do is that we're gonna set up with a white ring to the left by the bunker, top of blue ring by the frame. So it's an easy setup in that way. We can also use the ball guideline as a reference if you would like that, which is centered into the bright green square. Row 6 back, 1 right. Here, if you do not have the sniper level 9 plus to have the 6 backspin, you can set up with the sniper, and then you can swap to the guardian once you have found the position. Adjustment is going to be max plus 20, and we do adjust. center the ball and hit perfect. What we're looking for is to have wind between 7 and 8 miles per hour as per ultimate. So we would recommend to use and switch between a wind 3 and wind 4 ball. It gets up the hill there on the right, catch the slope down to the pin, and drops dead center for a lovely hole-in-one here on hole number 2. Hole number 7. Here we pray and hope for some sort of a tailwind, because then we can ping for the hole-in-one. But when we do not have a tailwind, we can make a decision. Either we are trying to just bounce through the trees and hope for some luck by bouncing into the rough to roll out for a wedge, or we are gambling with bouncing on the fairway on the left, which I will end up doing here in the video, that we will then end up into the sand, rough, or on green. Or obviously the fringe is in play there too. Using 1 backspin, 2 right spin here, adjusting max plus 10. Then I'm using max overpower obviously and playing with a power 5 ball. If you end up into the sand that is before the green, then there is a massive funnel from there. And there are many occasions where we have actually been playing into that sand deliberately to catch that funnel, because that's a much easier way to get an eagle than having to lay up on the right. So no matter what though, this hole number 7, is going to be an absolute must to drop, regardless what wind direction you have, which is pressure in itself. So eagle it is and nothing else. Hole number 8 is an interesting par 3, even more interesting nowadays when we do have so many different golf ball types, all from precision balls to a lot of different wind 5 balls and wind 4 balls with more side spin, etc. But this way that I'm playing here now will be the most simple and also the most consistent way of not making a mistake, because obviously you have the skinny rough bumps, you have backspin boost shots you can do on green, etc. Aiming at the top of +0 and with yellow rain by the rough line with some spins, mid +10, which is 1-1, using some overpower there as well in the end to compensate for the headwind. And the reason I do compensate with that instead of adjusting more is because I'm adjusting very close to the backsline. Coming into the green, getting just right of the pin, which is unfortunate. Obviously we wanted to drop, but we're getting ourselves a safe birdie in the end. Hole number 9. This is one of my least favorite par 5s, and this is going to be the par 5 that's going to hold down the scores. We're not going to drop this one that much because the green is weird. So what I'm doing here to start is that I'm looking to have my target just right of the trees with the bullseye just before the rough line, and the ball guideline is into the bunker. Adjust max +10 P3 as I'm not in max line, so I'm playing it P3 number instead of P5 numbers, making sure to pack either the Cataclysm or the Guardian, because on the approach having some backspin is definitely going to be very helpful. Changing to remove the 2 right spin here, going max curl to get around the corner, bounces on the fairway, and we're putting ourselves up nicely. If we do have a tailwind, we can try to go over on the left hand side. Unfortunately, when we play in pro and expert, the wind it's not that strong most of the times, and then it's too much of a gamble of doing that. But laying up here that we're doing just now is definitely, I can't sit here and say that that's going to be a money play, because it's not. It's never gonna be. So what we're doing here now is that we are bouncing on the fairway, trying to somewhat find a line that is that we bounce and have the second bounce left of the pin, takes the slope down, and we're dropping it for albatross. But the albatross here, once again, regardless what division you're playing, is going to be very difficult. So make sure to give yourself at least some margin where not getting the albatross won't mean that you will lose out on the eagle. So I'm playing this one very safe, outside chance for an albatross. My eagle is secured, and I can then move on to the next hole. You can see such a high bounce that it's so hard to control, and we're down for a simple pot, get eagle, and can't really complain about that. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough with various wins for the All-Star Tournament, a mix of Santa Ventura and Juniper Point. I do believe there will be a lot of drops this tournament, and frankly, I'm excited about that because we have had some tournaments lately that has been taking so much time and has been tough. So make sure to spend as little time as possible in practice, wasting balls and practice tokens by getting some or one of our guide packages by scanning the QR code here on the screen, or go directly to patreon.com/goldclashtommy. During the 18-hole tournaments, we are offering pro, expert, and master guides to pick the division that you want to play in, and make sure to get that help to improve your game and just cruise through into the weekend round. And also, with a little luck, you can have a shot for the top 10 spots. Thank you so much once again for watching. A massive good luck in the All-Star Tournament.